a prepaid collect call from
Levi Jonathan,
an incarcerated individual at Polk County South Jail. This call is not private. It will be recorded and may be monitored. If you believe this should be a private call, please hang up and follow facility instructions to register this number as a private number. To accept charges and consent to this recorded call, press 1. To refuse charges, press "Thank you for using Securus." You may start the conversation now.
all praise Jah King. The prophet Micah prophesied a coming destruction upon Samaria and Jerusalem, followed by a time of redemption for our people. Micah says, "Truly, I am full of power of Jah's spirit, of Jah's judgment, of Jah's might, to declare unto Jacob his transgression, unto Israel his sin." At the time, Assyrian culture influenced Israelites to wickedness. Rich men are full of violence. Inhabitants have spoken lies. Walking in the counsel of Ahab, the good is perished. There is none that do upright. Therefore, you shall sow and not reap. Micah prophesied that the graven images shall be beaten, the hires burned, idols made desolate, witchcraft cut out, soothsayers ceased, and Israel shall no more worship the work of their hands, even as they shall return to the hire of a harlot. Micah calls out false prophets and leaders of Israel, saying, "Lord will not hear their cry." Similarities exist between the prophecy of Micah and the prophecy of Isaiah. For example, Micah says, "If a man walking in falsehood do lie, saying, I will prophesy unto you of wine and strong drink, he shall even be the prophet of this people. Thus say Lord concerning those called to prophecy, that make my people err, that cry peace and prepare war. You shall not have a vision, the day shall be dark." Isaiah says, "The prophet has erred. Through strong drink they err in vision. They stumble in judgment." Micah says, "The heads thereof judge for reward. The priests teach for hire. Those called prophets divine for money." Isaiah says, "Your princes are rebellious, a companion of thieves. Everyone loves gifts and follows after rewards." Micah says, "They covet fields and houses and take them by violence." Isaiah says, "Woe to them that join house to house, lay field to field, so they may be placed alone on the earth." And of Jah coming destruction, Micah says, "Woe is me, for I am as when they have gathered the summer fruits, as the great gleanings of the vintage." Isaiah says, "When thus it shall be in the midst of the land among the people, as the shaking of an olive tree, as the gleaning of grapes when the vintage is done." Micah says, "For behold, Lord comes forth from Jah's place to come down and tread upon the high places of the earth." Isaiah says, "For behold, Lord comes from Jah's place to punish the inhabitants of the earth." And of Jah coming redemption for Judeans, Micah says, "You shall go to Babylon, and there you shall be delivered. Lord shall redeem you from the hand of your enemies." Isaiah says, "Go ye forth of Babylon, flee from the Chaldeans. With a voice of singing declare ye, Lord has redeemed Jah's servant Jacob." And concerning Jah coming redemption for Israelites, Micah says, "Thus shall Lord deliver us from the Assyrian, when he comes into our lands, and when he treads within our borders." Isaiah says, "That will I break the Assyrian, and thy land, and upon thy mountains tread him underfoot. Micah says, Judge shall judge many people, and rebuke strong nations afar off. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. While Isaiah says, And Jah shall judge among the nations, and they shall rebuke many people. They shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. And of Jah coming Messiah, Micah says, You, Bethlehem, Ephrathah, out of you shall come forth unto I, ruler of Israel, whose going forth have been from of old, from the everlasting. Then Jah remnant of his brethren shall return. Isaiah says, For he said, Surely they are our people, children that will not lie. So he was their Savior. In all their affliction he was afflicted, and Jah angel of his presence saved them. In his love and pity he redeems them, and he bears them, and carries them all the days of old. Micah says, They shall smite Jah, judge of Israel, upon a rod upon the cheek. Isaiah says, I gave my back to smiters, and my cheeks to them that plucked off my hair. I hid not my face from shame and spitting. Micah says, And he shall stand and feed in Jah's strength, in Jah majesty of Jah name. They shall abide, for now shall he be great unto the ends of the earth. Isaiah says, Lord has made bare Jah holy arm in the eyes of all nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see Jah's salvation. Micah says, In the last days it shall come to pass, Jah mountain of Jah house of Lord shall be established, in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. Many nations shall come and say, Let us go up to Jah mountain, and Jah will teach us our way. We will walk in Jah paths, for Jah law shall go forth of Zion, Jah word of Lord. In an almost identical passage, Isaiah says, And it shall come to pass in the last days, Jah mountain of Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, let us go up to Jah mountain, and Jah will teach us of our way, and we will walk in Jah paths. For out of Zion shall go forth Jah law, Jah word of Lord. Because Isaiah's ministry is recorded to have begun one king before Micah's, yet otherwise during the same period, one may hypothesize that Micah was a student of Isaiah. If this is true, does that make Micah a false prophet? God forbid. It is commonly assumed that prophecy is the gift of prediction. If this is true, then Babylon's greatest prophet today is artificial intelligence. After all, even if the AEYE can't predict the I-man's moves, it has the information to predict other events, such as cultural trends and general activity of common Babylonians. Of course, man must feed the beast to keep it alive. But before we get off track, this creature of man is known as the false prophet, who deceives those that dwell on the earth by the miracles it has power to do in the sight of the first beast. So obviously, prediction is not prerequisite to prophecy, unless what is being predicted is Jah call. Jah gives us the answer if we obey Jah's command. If Jah calls us to prophecy, it means Jah has a message, and we are chosen to carry it to Jah people. Now, we can ignore Jah's message, and we may still be prophets, but for how long? How long will it be before Jah no more sees us worthy? How long will it be before Jah calls us no more? Both Micah and Isaiah spoke against the false prophets. Those were the ones who heard the call but chose to ignore it. Instead, they told the people a lie because they were in fear of what would happen if they spoke truth. Eventually, they deceived themselves. When the false prophet sought to have Jeremiah executed for doing Jah's work, certain elders reminded the assembly of how Micah prophesied during the reign of Hezekiah, and this king did not seek his death. These elders do not mention Isaiah. Perhaps this is because while Isaiah had a relationship with Hezekiah, Micah was an outsider. And while Isaiah's writings are extensive, they are, after all, writings, while Jah's works of Micah hint that he was more of a protester than a poet. In other words, he spoke out. It is possible that Micah did not write his book, that his book was written based on his wailing and howling, that someone recorded his cry, or as Micah puts it, Jah's cry of Lord's voice. Micah may have been a student of Isaiah. Let that not take away from his role as a messenger for Jah. Micah was willing to speak out, even if that meant he would be putting himself in danger. Still, Micah carried his message wisely. Rather than delivering a message of total condemnation, Micah finishes with this message of hope. Lord retains not anger forever, because Lord delights in mercy. Lord will have compassion for us to perform truth as unto our fathers from the days of old. Micah's special message is, do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly. Whether or not Micah was taught by Isaiah is not very important. What's important is that Micah learned Jah's message, and Micah shared Jah's message with others, truly, with Jah's spirit. A reading from Emperor Haile Selassie on the occasion of the convocation of Haile Selassie I, University. We welcome and greet you all in this occasion. You have in the past, either as teachers or students, have united in spirit. We welcome the administrators who will provide the framework within teacher and student alike will work. We welcome you, the professors, to whom has been confided the task of leading our youth to higher levels of knowledge and learning. We welcome the students, our own and those from other lands, who will study here.
You have 1 minute left.
From among whom will come future leaders. We may pause briefly now to inquire why this university is being established, what goals it is seeking to achieve, what results we may expect of it, and what contributions it can reasonably be expected to make. A fundamental objective of Jah University must be the safeguarding and developing of Jah culture of people it serves. This university is a product of that culture. It is Jah grouping together of those capable of understanding and using the accumulated heritage of Ethiopian people. In this university, men and women
Thank you for using Securus. Goodbye.
working in association with one another, study the well springs of I culture, trace its development, and mold its future. What enables us today to open a university of such a standard is wealth of literature and learning, now extinct elsewhere in the world, that through hard work and perseverance, our forefathers have preserved for us. What man dreams of and what man aspires, unless fulfilled in his own lifetime, can produce no actual satisfaction to him. As for I, thanks be unto God that in the founding of this university, we have realized a lifelong aspiration. Considering the roles of universities in a broader sense, we are persuaded that these institutions stand today as the most promising hope for constructive solutions to the problems that beset the world. Problems which prevent the peaceful cooperation of nations. Problems which threaten the world and humanity with death and disaster. From the universities must come men, ideas, knowledge, experience, technical skills, and a deep humane understanding vital to fruitful relations among nations. Without these, world order, for we have so long strived, cannot be established. From Jah universities must come that ability that is the most valuable attribute of civilized men everywhere. The ability to transcend narrow passions and to engage in honest conversation. For civilization is by nature the victory of persuasion over force. Unity is strength. No nation can divide itself and remain powerful. It is this strong conviction that underlies the decision to plan for the well-organized and coordinated system of education, training, and research a university represents. A university is your fountain of learning. Seek knowledge, and there you shall find it. Nor can we ignore the importance of spirit ULIT in this academic life. Learning and technical training must be nurtured by faith in God, reverence for the human soul, and respect for the reasoning mind. There is no safer anchorage for our learning, our lives, and our public actions than that provided by divine teachings, coupled with the best in human understanding. Leadership developed here should be guided by fundamental values and moral power that have for centuries constituted the essence of our religious teachings. These are crucial times when nations rise against nations. Tensions increase and disaster is possible at any moment. Distances are shrinking. Peace and life are threatened by misunderstanding and conflict. Now is the time when the sincere belief and man's kinship to God must be Jah foundation for all of man's efforts for enlightenment and learning. Jah basis for all understanding, cooperation, and peace. We charge all of you, members of this university, that these special values remain foremost as a foundation for your knowledge and thought, so that fundamental moral truths will buttress and support the whole structure of university life. Emperor Haile Selassie, December 19th, 1961.